Good afternoon. This afternoon, we will discuss to you the Unit 2 Teaching Strategies. Chapter 1 Integrated Teaching 3-Level Strategy. One characteristic of an effective teaching strategy is that it is integrated. The word integrated from the Latin word integer, which means whole. An integrated strategy will put together the parts of a whole to arrive in a holistic, complete, and more accurate view of reality. Let's recall the story of the four blind men who were made to touch an elephant and who after were asked what is that they touch. The first who held one ear said, "It is a fan." The second who touched the body said, "It's a wall." The third who held one leg said, "It's a column." And the fourth who touched the tail said, "It's a rope." Of the poor blind man, nobody gave a correct answer because each one touched just a part of the elephant. That is exactly what happens when we study just a part of reality, like when we put a wall to shut science from math, language from values, music from civics. That is what we do when we teach the subject in isolation from one another. We are far from the truth and we are far from reality. To arrive closer to what is true, we make connections of the subjects. Let us make them interconnected instead of drawing demarcation lines between among them. We teach values, health, grammar, and math when we teach science. We teach science, values, math when we teach grammar. After all, these subjects are all part and parcel of life, which is truly the only curriculum. This integrated strategy is interdisciplinary with the same strategy that the restricted basic education curriculum requires. An integrated teaching strategy is permitted by the multiple intelligences, the varied learning styles, and daily experiences of the learners. It use also means empowering learners to become lifelong learners and active makers of meaning.
Level strategy. This was popularized by advocates of value clarification like Charles E. Merrill. The proponents of this integrated teaching strategy asserts that the teaching learning process should touch the facts level, the concepts level, and values level. On the facts level, the students learn isolated facts. On the concepts level, these fragmented and meaningless facts are viewed and organized into concepts fewer than the facts, while on the values level, the knowledge acquired are related to the student's life. See Figure 3 below. The three-level strategy first is the values, concepts, and facts. Here is how a lesson in science is developed with the use of the three-level strategy. One example of an integrated teaching strategy. Lesson plan and water pollution. Objectives to trace the remote and the immediate cause of water pollution. To describe the effects of water pollution. To propose solutions to the problem on water pollution. To launch an anti-pollution derived to the polluted river and the locality. Subject matter is water pollution. The materials, picture on film on polluted river, field trip to a polluted river. Procedure, facts level, conduct a field trip to a polluted river. Ask them to jot down their observations or show pictures of film on polluted rivers and contrast with clear rivers and ask them to write down what they see. The concept level, pivotal questions. What happens when water gets polluted? What causes water pollution? How does water pollution affect us? Activities, come up with a comic strip to present how fishes and plants and the polluted river would explain what water pollution is if they could talk. If a polluted river could talk, what would they tell you? The evaluation, present the meaning, causes, and effects of water pollution by means of a graphic organizer. The values level, pivotal questions. In what do we contribute to water pollution? What can we say that the root cause of water pollution is? Our very own indifference. how can fight this icy indifference? How can we show care of our rivers and other bodies of water? What are possible solutions to the problem on water pollution? To pollute the rivers, what would happen? The activities, small group discussions divide the class into groups of 5 or 6 and ask them to discuss their answers to the questions given above. Share your answers to the class. Research on the contributory factors to the river pollution in your area. Come up with a project on anti-pollution.
Chapter 2: Integrated Teaching Learning Style Multiple Intelligence Based Instructional Strategies. A teaching strategy is integrated when it is permitted by the concepts of multiple intelligences and varied learning styles of the learners. We used to think of intelligence in terms of linguistic and logical mathematical aspects only. But with Gardner's multiple intelligence theory, we are introduced to 6 more intelligences, namely bodily kinesthetic, spatial, musical, intrapersonal, interpersonal, and naturalist intelligences. All these intelligences are represented in every classroom since every learner has all the intelligences with just 1 or 2 that are dominantly expressed. The ideal is for every learner to have a balanced development of all the 8 intelligences. If this is the case, then we have been unfair to many of our students for the past years. No doubt, our teaching and testing strategies in the past have been placed in favor of the linguistically intelligent and logically mathematically intelligent students, more often than we taught in words. We also tested by way of words, written or oral. This was to the advantages of students whose dominant intelligences were not linguistic. To give you a clearer understanding of the 8 intelligences, see figure 4 on the next page. Intelligences as dispositions. Number 1 for bodily kinesthetic, touch, movement, physical self, athleticism. Sensitivity 2, activities requiring strength, speed, flexibility, hand-eye coordination, and balance. Inclination 2, use the hands to fix to create, mechanics, surgeon, carpenter, sculpture, mason, and use the body expressively, dancer, athlete, actor. Visual intelligence. Colors, shapes, visual puzzles, symmetry, lines, and images. Sensitivity to representing ideas, visually creating mental images, noticing visual details, drawing and sketching. Inclination to ability to creative visually, photographer, artist, engineer, decorator, and visualize accurately, tour guide or a scout ranger. Musical intelligence, tune, beat, tempo, melody, pitch, and sound. Sensitivity to listening, singing, playing an instrument. Inclination to ability to create music, a songwriter, composer, musician, conductor, and analyze music or a music critic. Personal intelligence. One's own strengths, weaknesses, goals, and desires. Setting goals, assessing personal abilities and liabilities, monitoring one's own thinking. Inclination to ability to meditate, reflect, exhibit self-discipline, maintain composure, and get the most out of oneself. Interpersonal intelligence. Body, language, moods, voice, and feelings. Sensitivity to noticing and responding to others people's feelings and personalities. Inclination to, ability to work with people, administrators, managers, consultants, teachers, and help people identify and overcome problems, therapists, and psychologists. Naturalist intelligence. Natural object, plants, animals, naturally occurring patterns, ecological issues. Identifying and classifying living things and natural objects. Analyze ecological and natural situations and data, ecologists and rangers, learn from living things, zoologist, botanist, veterinarian, and work in natural settings, hunter or scout. Logical mathematical intelligence, patterns, numbers, and numerical data, causes and effects, objective and quantitative reasoning. sensitivity to finding patterns, making calculations, forming and testing hypotheses, using the scientific method, deductive and inductive reasoning, inclination to ability to work effectively with numbers, accountants, statisticians, economists, and reasons effectively, engineer, scientist, computer programmer. Verbal linguistic intelligence, sounds, meanings, structures, and styles of language, sensitivity to speaking, writing, listening, and reading, inclination to ability to speak effectively, teacher, religious leader, politicians, or write effectively, poem, journalist, novelist, copywriter, and editor. As to learning style, I guess we were not then very particular. I cannot recall hearing about learning styles in my high school days, much less in my elementary years. I was taught about individual differences and individualizing instruction in my pre-service education in the early 70s, but I could not recall having been introduced to pronounced learning style. Profile like the following, introduced by Silver and Hanson, 1998. Number 1, sensing thinking, or the mastery style. The number 2, sensing feeling, or the interpersonal style. Number 3, intuitive thinking, or the understanding style. And 4, intuitive feeling, or the self-expressive style. To understand Silver's learning style profile, a brief introduction is in order. We perceive the world either by our five senses or by institutions, which you may consider sixth sense, or by a combination of both, which is the ideal. But some take the world more through their senses than with their intuition. Others perceive the world more by intuition and less by the five senses. Those who perceive the world by just sensing like to live and work in the here and now. They are motivated by practicality and usefulness. They generally have a realistic outlook on life, and they like to operate according to procedures and toward definite goal. Silver 2000. On the other hand, intuitives trust their own insights, go where their inspiration and vision take them, and often feel constrained by procedures. They like flexibility and the freedom to explore possibilities and ideas. Our perception of the world is subjected to judgment by our mind. Our mind can do this in two ways: through thinking and feeling, when we judge by more objective, while when we judge with our feeling, we tend to be subjective. Instead of depending on logical connections, we make human connections that make life rich and meaningful. Styles as disposition. Disposition styles: sensing thinking, or the mastery style, sensitivity to acts, details, physical actions, or steps, inclination for remembering, describing, manipulating, ordering, ability to organize, report, build, plan, and carry out projects. For intuitive thinking, or the understanding, sensitivity to gaps, flaws, questions, patterns, ideas. Inclination for analyzing, testing, proving, examining, and connecting. Ability to argue, research, develop theories, and explain. Intuitive feeling, or self-expressive style. Sensitivity to hunches, images, possibilities, inspiration. Inclination for predicting, speculating, imagining,
generating ideas, and developing insights. Ability to develop original solutions, think metaphorically, articulate ideas, express, and create. For the sensing feeling, or what we call interpersonal style, sensitivity to feelings, people, gut reactions, experiences, inclination for supporting, personalizing, expressing emotions, learning from experience, ability to build trust and rapport, empathize, respond, and teach. Summary. The sensing thinking or mastery learner, they prefer to learn by seeing tangible results, practicing what he has learned, following directions one step at a time, being active rather than passive, knowing exactly what is expected or how well the task must be done and why. Learns best from drill, demonstration, practice, hands-on experience. Likes doing things that have immediate practice use, being acknowledged or thoroughness and detail. Praise for prompt and complete work. Immediate feedback, rewards or privileges, and etc. Dislikes completing tasks for which there are no practical use. Activities that require imagination and intuitions. Activities with complex directions. Open-ended activities without closure or payoff. Activities that focus on feelings, on other intangible things. The intuitive thinking or understanding learners prefers to learn by studying about ideas and how things are related, planning and carrying out a project of his own making and interest, arguing or debating a point passed on logical analysis, problem solving that requires collecting, organizing, and evaluating data. Learns best from lectures, reading, logical discussions, and debates. Likes. Their likes is to time, plan, and organize her work, working independently or with other intuitive, working with ideas and things that challenge them, him to think, to explore, to master. Their dislikes, routine or rote assignments, memorizations, concern for details, rigid rules, and predetermined procedures. The sensing feeling or interpersonal learner prefers to learn by studying about things that directly affect people's lives rather than impersonal facts or theories. Receiving personal attention and encouragement from his teachers. Being part of a team or collaborating with other students. Activities that help her learn about herself and how she feels about things. Learns best from groups, experience, and projects. Loving attention, personal expression, and personal encounters. Role playing. Their likes, receiving personal attention and encouragement, opportunities to be helpful in class, personal feedback, sharing personal feelings and experience with others. Their dislikes, long periods of working alone silently, emphasis on factual details, highly competitive games where someone loses, detailed and demanding routines. The intuitive feeling or self expressive learners prefers to learn by being creative and using his imagination, planning and organizing her work in her own creative ways, working on a number of things at one time, searching for alternative solutions to problems beyond those normally considered, discussing real problems and looking for real solutions. Learns best from creative and artistic activities, open ended discussions of personal and social values, activities that enlighten and enhance, rhymes, humans, achievement dramas, and etc. Their likes: contemplation, being able to learn through discovery, opportunity to plan and pursue his own interest, recognition for personal insights and discoveries. Their dislikes: too much attention to detail, facts memorization, rule learning, fast with determined correct answers, detailed and demanding routines. An integrated strategy teaching incorporates students' multiple intelligences and learning styles. This simple example will show how, during a lesson on the water cycle, the teacher may solicit ideas on what the students already know, run an action simulation in which students roll dice to determine where in the water cycle the students will go next. Incorporate a writing experience where the student's personality, the water droplet, to tell about their journey. Graph where the droplets went, and then discuss what they observed and compare it what they had previously true. To give every student the opportunity to learn the lessons appropriate to his dominant intelligence and learning styles, it is best that we have a pool of learning activities and techniques that are disposal. The tables given here may be of help. On the figure 7, collecting classroom examples for intelligences, verbal linguistic, example of classroom activities, discussions, debates, journal writing, conference essays, stories, poems, storytelling, listening, activities, and reading rather. For the logical mathematicals, calculations, experiments, comparisons, number games, using evidence, formulating and testing hypotheses, deductive and inductive reasonings. Spatial. Example of classroom activities for spatial are concept maps, graphs, charts, art projects, metaphorical thinking visualizations, videos, slides, visual presentations. For bodily kinesthetic, we have role-playing, dance, athletic activities, manipulative hands-on demonstration, and concept mining. For the musical, playing music, singing, whistling, clapping, analyzing sounds and music. And for interpersonal, community involvement projects, discussions, cooperative learning, teams, games, pair tutoring, conference, social activities, and sharing. For interpersonal, students' choice, journal writing, self-evaluation, personal instruction, independent study, discussing feelings, and reflecting. And for naturalists, ecological field trips, environmental study, caring for plants and animals, outdoor work, pattern recognition. Selecting classroom examples for learning styles. For the intelligence or mastery, exercise practice. Examples of classroom activities are direct instruction, drill and repetition, demonstration, competitions, activities that focus on organizing and managing information, practicing a skill, observing, describing, memorizing, and categorizing. For interpersonal or experience personalized, example of classroom activities are team games, learning circles, role-playing, group investigation, pair tutoring, personal sharing, activities that focus on describing feeling, empathizing, responding, valuing. Understanding, explain, prove. Examples of classroom activities: inquiry, concept formation, debate, problem solving, independent study, essays, logic problems, activities that focus on classifying, analyzing, using evidence, applying, comparing, and contrasting, and evaluating. Self-expressive or explore, produce. Example of classroom activities: divergent thinking metaphors, creative art activities, imagining open-ended discussions, imagery, creative problem solving, activities that focus on hypothesizing, symbolizing, synthesizing, creating, metaphorical, self-expression,